back to another Warhammer 2 multiplayer video. This is going to be the Forces of Chaos versus Tomb Kings. A lot of Tomb King videos because they're the new faction, so a lot of people are playing them. I'm playing them, playing against them now. And yeah, so Tomb Kings versus Chaos. For my forces, we have one group of Forsaken because I had enough money left over for one group of Forsaken, and I wanted one because they're very fast, and they can deal a lot of damage, and they can crush almost, I believe, any infantry that the Tomb Kings can bring. The other infantry we have is 2 normal Chaos Marauders, 2 Chaos Warriors, and then 2 additional Chaos Warriors with Halberds, and then a group of the Aspiring Champions. Brought the Halberds here because the Constructs are really the only thing that I fear from the Tomb Kings. Back here we also have a leader with Sartorial the Ever Watcher with the Bombardment spell, Transmutation of Lead, which is the debuff, and then the Plague of Rust, which can lower an enemy's armor by 30 or 60 if overcast, which is pretty cool, just a single target though. And then over here on the flank we have a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth and a group of Dragon Ogres to support them. Both of them are armor piercing and anti-large, again because that's what I'm fearing from the Tomb Kings. And then for additional just armor piercing damage, this is the first time I've actually used the Throwing Axe Horsemen in months, but I figure against the Tomb Kings they have a lot of armor, so let's try and give them a shot. So I brought 2 of those. They were slightly Vanguard deployed. Speaking about Vanguard deployment, because that is my army, we have a group of Stalkers over here, the renowned Eyes of the Desert. Excuse me, which is a stalking construct, so I don't see them in there, don't see them on the mini-map, but they are there, and they will be joining the battle in due time. They're kind of way back there, and I'm going to be charging forward into the Tomb King's army, which we have 5 skeletal warriors. We have 3 skeletal spearmen back here, including the renowned one, which is the King Nakesha Scorpion Legion, which does poison damage, better stats, and better armor than the normal spearmen. For the rest of the forces here, we have also one group of the Blessed Legion of Blessed... I don't know how to pronounce that word. The renowned skeletal archers that have the armor debuff here. I think it's minus 30? Yeah, minus 30. Sundered armor on their bows. And speaking about bowmen, we have 2 of the Ushabti Great Bows, because again, you're going to probably face these 100% of the time. Chosen of the Gods, and then one group of the normal Ushabti Great Bowmen right back there. We also have a Sphinx of We have the renowned Necro Sphinx, which is a buffer version of the Necro Sphinx, and it's pretty cool. It's kind of like the Tomb King's Shaggoth, and then their leadership is going to be High Queen Khalida, which comes with poison damage. She has a unique mount, which is one of those snakes constructs, but they chose not to use it. And then we also have a Lich Priest of Nehekara. I think that is their entire forces. A lot of renowned units for the enemy in this battle. So let's go. I knew I was going to have to charge because the enemy, again, is going to have the Great Bows. Like, it's just going to be there. In every single battle, it's going to be the Great Bows. So I'm like, well, we just have to deal with it. And what I wanted to do, since the enemy is going to be moving forward right here, I wanted to try and hide right here behind the lip of this hill because it gives a bad angle to the archers whenever we actually kind of get right up against it. And if the enemy was going to continue to charge, I would then at the last second just kind of pop over the hill and countercharge them, and so that our forces would be mixed in. But they're just moving them right here. I'm going to sit here at the edge of the hill just for a little bit to see how their shots are. And it's not the best because they're still hitting our halberds, so I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to be able to sit here, so we are actually going to start advancing over the lip of the hill. I also have my other forces over here on the flank. The Throwing Axes are going to be coming up over here, and my Dragon Ogre is going to be coming up over here. Their first target is going to be the Necro Sphinx. You can see it's actually already kind of pulling back over here. They probably know that that's what I want my forces to converge on first, because it's one of the biggest threats that they have. Here we go, a Bombardment spell on the renowned skeletal archers. Just a very basic spell. I think it's like 5 or 6 Winds of Magic, and that took them down to half because of what their formation was. It was a very dense formation at the time, so we did a lot of good damage to them there. Gonna whip the Forsaken around the flanks. Now, I was playing this battle like this, and I was doing a lot of massive, or like a lot of clicks right here, and I meant to move the Forsaken up to here, and I must have accidentally clicked away over here because these Forsaken are gonna go on a journey into the forest, and they're not gonna come back for a little while. Because I'm just furiously clicking. I'm getting Sartorial the Everwatcher onto their Blessed Legion, trying to stop the bows before they can do too much damage. We're also pulling up our halberds. This halberd I'm going to get around the flank. No reason to go through it. We're going to have to pull back Sartorial because we have the Necro Sphinx. We have the High Queen's going to be coming in here. We have a Spearman in there. Getting my Dragon Ogres around the flank to try and get onto this Necro Sphinx. And I'm trying to tie up these Spearmen with my Chaos Marauder, who I whipped around the flank as well. And then my other Chaos Marauder is going to be holding off 2 units here, and this Chaos Warrior is going to be moving over here because the Actually, I'm sorry, no. They're moving over here because the Necro Sphinx is coming up the middle. I couldn't see the Stalkers at this point. It's just going to B, that when my halberds get here, that's when the stalkers are actually going to show up, and I'm going to be like, oh wow, it's a good thing that I moved my halberds over here. But originally the idea was because the Necrosphinx was chasing Sartorial through the center, so I wanted to meet him with the halberds. But now we have the Necrosphinx in combat with the Dragon Ogre and the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. I have debuffed them with the Transmutation of Lead and a Plague of Rust, so they are taking a lot of damage here. We also got the halberds there that are going to be facing against the Spearmen. Going to try and run these Chaos Halberds down here to intercept the Eyes of the Desert. We're also going to take this Chaos Warrior to try and intercept these Stalkers as well, because they are now finished killing the skeleton unit they were fighting. The Forsaken are finally starting to come back after the long journey into the forest, and our Marauder Horsemen are just throwing their axes into the Necrosphinx. Probably doing some friendly fire to Sartorial, but at the very least, Sartorial has a massive range resistance, so he's not going to take that much from the friendly fire. Not that much. We have the Summon Ushabti coming in, but they summon them right on top of my Halberds, which, I mean, I guess it's okay. They're tying up one of my Halberd groups, but the Halberds are going to be able to take them down pretty quickly. And again, my other Chaos Warriors just trying to zone out the Stalkers over here, as my anti-large group is still finishing off the Necrosphinx. So Forsaken are finally getting in here to try and stop the Great Bows from firing, trying to get into these Skeletal Spearmen, because the Forsaken can just destroy them. Getting our Aspiring Champions through the middle, because it is now clear. We're going to be marching up our Chaos Warriors, I believe, as well. And now the Necrosphinx is dead, so we're now going to get onto their leadership. High Queen Khalida is tucked in back here. We're going to try to take out the Lich Priest and their archers over here. Big Bird, I think, is going to whip around and try and get into one of these units. Oh, going after... I think I sent him after... Yeah, I sent him after the Great Bows. And I'm also sending the Marauder Horsemen after the Great Bows. They're being chased by the Forsaken. And that is when the enemy is going to surrender the fight. Their Stalkers just got into combat back here. They were fighting off some of my Halberds. And I believe I was closing in with my Chaos Warrior. I can't remember. But they were fighting Halberds there. And like their entire front line is mostly dead. This one Chaos Marauder was tanking 2 Skeletal Warriors. I think the Marauder would have died, but they took a lot of the Skeleton Warriors with them too. And that's a GG. We pulled the Necrosphinx out of formation into the center, and then we surrounded them with the Dragon Ogres and debuffed them with Transmutation of Lead and Plague of Rust, and they just, I mean, not necessarily melted, but they did die pretty quickly, so the Necrosphinx wasn't allowed to do too much. The Stalkers were out of combat for so long because I just rushed them. I don't know, maybe they thought that I was going to bring Chaos Cannons. Not something I normally do. So it took them a long time to catch up to us. The Great Bows did do a lot of good damage to us throughout the course of the battle. I wasn't really able to stop them as fast as I wanted to because of our Forsaken, which is that was going to be their job. Took a walk through the forest. But as you can see here, even the basic Chaos Marauders do really well against the skeletons. This Marauder just destroyed the Spearman group it was fighting without taking like any damage, and this one was tanking 2 different Skeletal Warriors by itself. So, seeing how good the Marauders performed here, I may actually just go mostly Marauder frontline against Tomb Kings. Now, they're not going to perform as well against Tomb Guards. These are just Skeletal Warriors. The Tomb Guards would, I would hope, kill Chaos Marauders pretty convincingly. I would hope. Because they have the higher armor and better stats, but I don't know. I have no idea. But at least against Skeletal Warriors, the Chaos Marauders are good enough, and they're cheap. And you can see, like, our Chaos Warriors took no damage. And I thought that's what was going to happen. That's why I didn't even spend the extra money for the great weapons. I'm like, you know what? We don't need the great weapons because we have enough armor piercing with the Marauder Horsemen. We had the Shaggoths. We have Sartorial going around being all cool and stuff. Anyway, for the enemy player here, DE install. Again, the Great Bows did good, but none of these units fared well. The archers got shut down basically just by 1 spell because of how they were clumped. These were out of combat for so long, and then, yeah, the Sphinx just got surrounded and murdered, and I made sure to try and pin all of their nearby spearmen with our Chaos Warriors or Marauders to make sure that they could not reinforce the Necrosphinx. When these giant units, though they are very powerful, if they get surrounded by other units, especially units that are geared to kill them, and they don't have any support, like any infantry at their feet fighting with them, especially like spears and stuff, then they can die really fast, because they get so many hits against them. People in their back, on their flanks, which I believe hits from the rear lower the enemy's melee defense by 80% from the rear. Not actually lowered, but they have 80% lower behind, and I think maybe it's 40% on the sides or 20%, something like that. So when they get surrounded, they can die pretty quickly. So that's why I made sure to tie up the Skeletal Spearmen nearby that could have supported them in a fight. But yeah, I just wanted to explain part of the strategy of isolating the Necrosphinx and why you should too isolate big creatures like this and make sure they have no infantry support nearby. Whereas I had the Halberd support, which is just beautiful Halberd support. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody, and let's go see a cinematic view of the battle. What up, Big Bird? These aspiring champions look so cool. They still look so cool. Bunch of badasses, man. Whew.
Kill, maim, burn, obliterate them! Move fast! Running for the masters! Now is our time! Running!
Did they just like parry? Didn't parry that, did you?
Kill them all! Move fast!
And there we go. Oh, Chaos is still fun to play, but I do really miss the Renown units because they had a lot of cool ones. Someday we'll get them back. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you all next time. Take care.